Hey guys, it's Yuta. So today I'm here with
Marina
from
Dating Beyond Borders. We focus on dating trends around the world.
And we're gonna be discussing dating in Japan and
in North America.
Except
Mexico.
Okay. So let's discuss
Let's discuss.
asking out.
Okay, so in North America, and most of your viewers are North American. I mean, man asks a woman out, a woman asks a man out. I don't think there's like a rule, really, especially nowadays. How is it like in Japan?
So there's a difference I noticed, and this pattern is quite consistent. It's so interesting because when I ask out a girl from North America, they're more likely to make suggestions. For example, I'm gonna be asking something like, hey, so do you wanna hang out sometimes? And many of them will say something like, oh, I know a great place. There's a place I've always wanted to go. But in Japan, it's more like men are supposed to come up with some kind of plan. So I'm gonna be saying something like, oh, I know a great place, so do you wanna go here? And
Shit. Sorry.
like, it's not like you're going to the place that the man wants to go. It's more like the man has to guess where, what the girl wants.
I see.
And make suggestions accordingly.
I see. So basically, does she find it attractive if a man is kind of the caretaker and he can make all these decisions? He's assertive.
Someone who can lead.
I see.
And that's the big thing in Japan.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So just as a side note, I'm Russian, and in Russia, that's very similar. That a man needs to be assertive and needs to make the decisions. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the assertiveness.
Because you're Russian?
Because I'm Russian, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about planning. Because in Japan, making plans is a big deal. So especially if it's your first date, or it's usually the guy, has to come up with some kind of plan. So you want to know where you're going first and maybe where you're going to after. But I think in North America, it's more spontaneous.
I think it is more spontaneous, and I don't think there needs to be like an expensive restaurant or anything like that. It just depends on the people. Maybe they can go for a walk. What happens if you bring a woman to, let's say you have a date, but you say, look, we're not going to go to a restaurant. We're just going to go take a walk. How does she respond to that?
So that's a great point because I have an interesting story. And so I went on a date with a Japanese girl a while ago. And we were planning to go to this Thai restaurant. But when I saw her, I wasn't really hungry. So I said, oh, can we take a walk? And she was like, what are you talking about? Aren't we going to the Thai restaurant? So I was like, oh, yeah, this is Japan.
So what? All my plans are, so planning is a big thing. You need to plan in advance and plan well. So there's no room.
And follow through.
And follow through.
Maybe, yeah.
Doesn't happen here at all, actually. That's interesting because I would like that if someone, well, maybe not if they're like, I'm going to take you to an expensive restaurant. By the way, no, we're actually going to go for a walk. I wouldn't be that excited, but still, it's nice to have some spontaneity, right? So I guess not in Japan.
I actually prefer just let's meet at this point and see how it goes. I prefer that kind of style.
Me too, because you know what I think, when you're spontaneous, you actually get more attracted to the other person because you're put in so many different situations and you see them in so many different lights. It's not like an interview. It's not like this.
Yeah. But in Japan, many women, they prefer a man who can come up with a good dating plan, and that's a good thing.
Makes sense, though. It really makes sense to me because I do find that attractive.
So I don't really mind, I just, adjust myself based on the culture.
Well, you were 15 minutes early today, so you're good with planning. I was 15 minutes late.
But I was thinking that you guys were going to be late.
So you came earlier, even earlier.
So that I could go somewhere to eat.
I see. I was just thinking you're so Japanese, but you're just sneaky.
No, see, I was doing that in a way that I could adjust to different kind of situations. In case you were on time, I could be on time. In case you weren't, I could just go somewhere.
But that's the plan.
Planning, yeah. That's the thing.
We've discovered that secret.
I thought about different scenarios and yeah.
And you planned accordingly.
That
is so attractive.
Okay, paying. So who pays on the first date? Let's say first date in North America. Okay,
look. So I'm Russian. So I want the guy to pay. For the first date at least. The first couple of dates. First like 10 dates or something like that. But in North America, I think it depends on the type of guys. But I still think that men do pay more than women. There's still that culture more or less.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So in Japan, there's no rule. So you might, I mean, I think there's something that we do in Japan, which is like we split, but it's not going to be 50-50. So the guy usually pays like maybe 70%, 80%, 90%, and the girl pays the rest.
But how does that work? So you get a bill that say, okay, it's $40. And okay, not in dollars. I know you don't use dollars, but how does he go? Does he just say, I'm going to pay 35?
I'm going to pay 30,
Uh-huh.
and she's going to pay 10.
So why can't you just pay 40?
I think it's interesting because many women, they don't like, they don't want to feel like the guy is kind of like a buying her something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because then they feel like, they owe something to the guy. But if you do that, it's kind of, well, I think it's less pressure.
Yeah.
But still, the guy pays, so you can show that, you like her, you care about, you consider this a date.
So, and then around the world as well, like in France, for example, women say this a lot. They say, I feel like I owe him something if he pays for me. So this is not just Japan. I feel like this is definitely a trend around the world.
But I feel like in the US and Canada, when I pay for everything. It's not like 70-30 split.
Told you. I feel like while it really depends, generally first date, I feel like the man pays, right? I think that's a North America thing, more or less.
But sometimes, even in North America, I say sometimes like, let's do the Japanese style. And I explain how it works in Japan, and I pay like 70%. So
they're like, when you say, let's do the Japanese style, they get all intrigued, like, ooh, the Japanese style. And they're like, oh, crap, it just means that you're not going to pay for the date. That's very smart.
It's a good trick to pay a little less.
Exactly. Use your exoticness to an advantage.
Yeah. That's the good thing about international dating.
Damn, that's a good one. I should make a video about that. When you use your culture to get ahead, that's a good video.
So, let's discuss confession of love. And that's very Japanese.
Give me a confession of love. What would you say to me if you were confessing?
Okay. So, hey, we've been, hanging out for a while, and I really like you, so maybe, be my...
That's not gonna work. Hey!
I feel so much pressure. So...
Yes, Yuta. You had something to say to me.
So, Marina?
Yes.
So we've been hanging out for a while, and I really like you. So would you like to be my girlfriend?
Well, we've known each other for 2 days, so it's a little too soon.
2 days enough.
That's nice. That's really sweet. When do you say this to someone?
So, on average, this happens on your 3rd date.
Oh my god.
So it's pretty early, right?
And that's when you have sex?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So if I say like, yes, Yuta, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend, you're like, okay, now come to my house.
Yeah, it can happen.
Okay, that's very smart again.
Interestingly, so the average number of dates, when people have sex is 3 dates, based on very unscientific, like magazine surveys. But from my experience, that's mostly the case.
Okay.
So
like North America, similar. So, but what, for example, can you say this to a girl, have sex with her, use this as a line to actually have sex with her, and then say, look, I'm sorry, it's just not going to work?
I mean, technically you could, but it's not recommended because it's not very honest.
It's very
I wouldn't do that. If I just want to have sex, I will tell her, I'm just looking for something casual.
Okay.
Yeah. So not all Japanese people do that.
Okay.
For example, I don't do that. And the older you get, the less likely you do that. Because if you're old, it's not gonna be like that it's not always black and white.
Yeah. That's true.
Also, if you have more experience, you don't need to say it explicitly. Sometimes you can just tell.
But this reminds me a lot of the North American, the talk. You have a talk because you can be dating each other, but you can be dating other people. It's all very confusing. And then once you decide you're serious with this person, then you have this talk, which determines. I've never had the talk in my life.
I've had a talk with this American girl.
Okay. Yeah. And what did she say?
She said yes.
Okay.
Let's talk about PDA, public displays of affection.
So in North America, okay, I'm sorry, where I live in Toronto, you don't see that a lot. You probably see
my
this
impression
in
as
certain,
well.
yeah, they definitely don't see that. We're not talking about Mexico. You definitely see that in Mexico. And I'm sure you see this a lot more in Montreal. Speaking about America, I think in the United States, you do see this in certain parts, like in Miami, which is, it's closer to that step, more Caribbean
it's more
style
like
life.
Yeah.
But you don't see that a lot.
Yeah.
And in Japan, I'm assuming you don't see that
No,
at all.
no. So if you're a couple, holding hands is pretty normal. Kissing in public, I don't think most couples do that. At least when everybody is around.
Kind of off topic here. Do people in Japan, I know they do this in Korea, do they, like a couple, do they wear matching clothes?
No, we don't do that in Japan. The interesting thing is, so I have a Japanese friend and she has a boyfriend. And when we hang out in a group, with her and her boyfriend and other friends, you have no idea that they're together. If I didn't know that they were together, I wouldn't know that they were together.
Like nothing, like
They're nothing. They don't act like a couple. They don't act like a couple at all.
Huh. So you're like, they look like friends and nothing else.
Here, there's a little bit of maybe a little bit of touching, occasional kissing, kind of like, flirting and stuff like that.
There's definitely
but
that.
in Japan, often there's nothing. But in private, you can do whatever you want.
Well, I'm hoping.
Like, even then, if you compare that to Latin America, for example, I feel like in private as well, there's like less physical connection.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think if you compare anything to Latin America, especially Asia and Latin America, I mean, that's like worlds away, right? Latinos are quite passionate, consistently. Overall.
And I personally really like physical connection, touching and kissing. Yeah. So let's talk about socializing. Because if you date somebody in Japan, it's pretty normal. The guy hangs out with his friends and the girl hangs out with her friends. And they don't really quite mix. Well, it can happen, but it doesn't always happen.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. In North America, I mean, it doesn't matter. You can get a group of 5 guys and you can get that one girl that's going with them to watch the game.
I mean, guy can have a mixed friends. He can hang out with a group of guys and girls.
Yeah.
And girls, they're the same. It doesn't have to be just men, women.
That's what I thought you said.
No. This is kind of important because if you are dating somebody from Japan and if they're not introducing you to their friends, you don't have to feel like, is there something wrong? Because it's normal in Japan.
Okay, I'll know that next time I date a Japanese guy.
So let's talk about meeting parents.
Let's not.
And it's the same thing in Japan. It's a big deal. So unless you are very serious or unless you're marrying somebody, it's not likely that you're gonna meet his or her parents, and that's completely normal.
That's kind of nice.
You don't like meeting?
I mean, it's uncomfortable, right? Unless they're really cool parents.
I actually like meeting my, girl's parents.
Really?
Yeah.
You can introduce it to my mom. She's really cool. She likes younger guys.
Because it's interesting. I like, knowing families. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice, and also when we're talking about Latin America, I mean, in Latin America, is just just as a comparison, that's a big part of dating. You need the family kind of needs to approve. I mean, in North America, I think it really depends, but I don't think you wait until marriage to meet the parents. You probably meet them much earlier on. But again, I don't think there's like a rule per se that you meet them at a certain stage. Depends on the couple, I think.
Yeah, like in high school, sometimes when you live with your parents, you can just take your girlfriend or boyfriend, to your place.
And that's like accidentally meeting your parents, not on purpose. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be like, let's introduce.
Yeah,
it's not
like, oh god.
That's not casually meeting your parents. Yeah, it's totally fine, but it doesn't happen as often in Japan.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video and make sure to check out her channel about dating around the world. I
need you guys. And actually, I'm going to make a video featuring Yuta as well, where we're going to talk about the different cultural differences in dating between North America and Japan. So check it out. It's going to be different than this one.
Okay, and if you want to date in Japan, it's important that you speak Japanese, and I have free email lessons, so make sure to click the link and subscribe to my email group. Alright, see you guys later. Ciao. I'm gonna keep that one.